let's slowly get started, and people can slowly drip in if they want to. I'm gonna kick off this session with some of the questions that we received from all of you guys before this webinar. And one of them that stood out to me, and I think is maybe a good one to kick off with, is someone asked is Synthesia a video editing software or video creation software? And what are the differences, and why are we one or another? I think this question is really great because it really touches on something about Synthesia that is very, very fundamental to me, and probably is also to you guys when you're using Synthesia in your daily lives. And that is that what we're seeing right now, and the way that I see synthetic video content kind of developing from where we are today, is less of a replacement for a normal camera and normal video production. I think that we will always be recording normal videos and films and these kind of things. What we're seeing more is that synthetic video is kind of a new type of media, right? It's a new medium that we can communicate with, and per definition, it is so new that it's not 100% defined exactly like what it's going to look like in 5 years' time. But that's exciting, and that's what we love to kind of figure out along the way with all of you wonderful people here. But the way I think of Synthesia today is that we don't really deal with video that comes off a camera. We're all about generating new video, and especially what we're about is taking all of those touch points and that content that you used to have in text format and making that into a video format instead, right? And that goes back to what all of you guys already know, which is that when we watch a video, we stimulate more of our senses. And when we stimulate more of our senses, we just process information better and we remember more of what's in that video. So what we're seeing today, I think with some of the biggest customers that we have, is that they use Synthesia for creating a lot of content, and they take that text content and make it into video, but they also still do the normal video production. And I think this is probably gonna, be something that kind of exists side by side. Just like drum machines didn't replace drummers, it just created a new type of electronic drums that can be used in rock music, which it definitely is today, but it also created entirely new genres of music, like electronic music, for example. So thanks for submitting that question. I think that was really great to kind of kick this session off with. So next one is a little bit similar, actually. So let's try it out here. So will Synthesia Studio replace all video production, learning, and development? And I think, again, here, the key thing is that this is about competing with text, right? You should take your text assets and make that into video content. I definitely think that there's still a lot of value in recording a really nice video with maybe someone from the executive team or the CEO talking about, some particular topic, especially today, if it's something about, the vision of the company, the motivation of the company, where you want it to be a little bit more emotional. So I definitely think it's something that's going to be living side by side. But what I would love to see is that Studio replaces most of the text content that is in learning and development today. And that's kind of what we're seeing, right? So again, this idea of just making a better user experience. And I think what we're seeing today is that with Studio, you actually can do this, right? Because the speed of creating videos is really, really fast. You can localize it, keep the videos consistent by updating them after you've created them once. If there's a new policy, for example, to standardize them. So I think that's kind of how we're hoping that the tool evolves, and that's what we're already seeing today. Next one here, I'm going to take one from the chat that we had in here. So Mosen, you asked, when will we get a minute counter? It is important for transparency. I know that this is something that we should have built a long time ago, and it is coming soon, hopefully within the next couple of months. What we're going to be releasing is essentially a bit more of a better billing system that will allow you to keep track of the minutes you've used, buy more minutes if you need that. So definitely is something that's coming. We've been really focused on building the kind of video creation tool over the last 6 to 9 months and making that experience really, really great. There's also a little secret here. Maybe some of you guys already know it, but if you make 11 minutes of video content, we're not going to chase you down for it. So use it while you can. It's okay to create a little bit more than those 10 minutes of content per month today. When can we get a simple package without all the editor? All I need is the character with green screen background. So today you can already export this. It sounds like you maybe already know that, so I'm not sure exactly what you mean here. But if you only need the character, you can definitely export it with a green screen background. In terms of why you should pay for what you don't use, well, that's kind of the way the platform works. Most of the cost on our end is on generating the avatars. As you can probably imagine, using all the kind of AI that sits underneath it is pretty computationally expensive. So what we've been asked a few times was, where does synthetic video content fit in the toolbox of L&D professionals? This is a great question. So I think what we're seeing and what we're hearing from all of our customers, right, is that in L&D, most people want to create more video than what they're doing today, but it's just very hard to do that with cameras and actors and all these things you used to do. You need to create video content, and it's very hard to update it after you've shot it. So what you can do today, of course, is just go to Studio. You just need a computer with an internet connection. And you can then, from there on, create your videos and then import them into your LMS system. And that's what we're seeing most of our customers do. I'm sure most of you guys who are working in L&D in this call today is already using an LMS system, and you download the videos and you put them in there. Something that we're coming out with pretty soon is a video embed, which means that instead of having to download the video on your computer and upload it to your LMS, you can simply just take the link and you can import that directly into your LMS system. This also means that once you've then done this, if you want to update the content, you can just update your content in the Synthesia app and it will reflect automatically in your LMS system. So this is going to be an easier way of publishing your content. All right, next one. How does the product roadmap look like? Will you add collaboration features? How about more languages and accents? So yes, we're adding collaboration and we're always adding more languages and accents. Some of you in this call might have actually taken part in this, but the way we actually build our product roadmap is that we really try and listen a lot to our customers, which is you guys and what you guys need. And last month, we alone spoke with over 30 instructional designers, training partners, e-learning developers, etc., and really just try to learn how people are using the product and what their objectives are. And what we're building now is all about collaboration. So what we're seeing is a lot of people in companies, there might be more than one person who is making content, but right now the accounts, you can't really share videos between them. There's no commenting workflows. It is like a little bit not so easy to use. So what we're releasing soon is the ability to have a workspace where you can invite your colleagues, you can create folders, you can organize all your content. Eventually, you'll be able to comment on each other's videos so that if I make a video and I send it to you for approval, you can put some comments on it. I can read the comments, redo the video, and send it to you again. So this is something that we're working on, and it's going to be out pretty soon, hopefully sometime within the next 3 months. Is there a way to clone the voice in German? Renee is asking. So we are working with a partner who I think can do this in German instead of just English, a company called Novo. So you can check that out. Pretty sure that they will support that. I will probably have to get back to you on that. So maybe my colleague Dan who's in this call can just take down your name and I'll get back to you. Have you done research on attention spans of people when comparing real to generated video that you would be willing to share with us? So we actually haven't done ourselves research on this yet. Actually, that's not true. We did something 2 years ago, which showed that the synthetic video engages. I actually forgot the numbers, but basically, if it looks real, then it engages as well. And what we found back then was that 9 out of 10 people could not tell it was a synthetic video when they were just shown the video without any other context. But that's pretty cool. We've had a few of our customers do case studies on how this has affected their learning and training practice in the organization. So one of them is one of the biggest companies in the world, a German company, and they use synthetic content inside their organization and actually increased engagement on their LMS platform by 30% just by adding video content. And I think that's obviously like a really, really cool one. And this is also what we are, what we're hearing in the market. In general, video versus text is, if you can, like online, there's been done research on like how much do you remember of a video versus how much of something you read. The figure of a video is around 80% of what you see in the video. you'll remember, versus only 8% of text. So I think it's pretty clear that video is a much better format than text. When can we use the videos for paid promotional campaigns, like Facebook ads, for example? So Antonio, actually, you can do this today if you have your own avatar, which of course you then own the IP to. If this is something that you're serious about, that you try and get in touch with us and record your avatar. It isn't as hard as it sounds like. You submit 4 to 5 minutes of footage, and when it is your own avatar, then you're free to do whatever you want with it. What's the internal process within Synthesia upon receiving the raw video files for creating the custom avatar? That's a great question, Hassan. So what we do when we receive the video content is that we look through it and we essentially select the parts of the video that we can use to create an avatar. If you followed the instructions to a T, then this should be all the video, but usually most people will look a little bit away from the camera, do some things they're not supposed to do. Once we have that, then we have an actually pretty automated system, and it will be more kind of automated in the future, where we take all the data, give it to the deep learning algorithms, and the deep learning algorithms then essentially looks at the video. It figures out how to simulate new versions of that video with the text that you type in. The way the videos are generated is actually from the audio. So the audio track that comes out when you type something in is what determines what the video is going to look like, and that's this kind of mapping that the system learns. This is obviously a pretty simple way of explaining it, but it's actually not too dissimilar from what you do in Hollywood. In Hollywood, they also create digital humans. In Hollywood, this is a process that's very long. It's very expensive, and it takes a lot of data. But what we've done here is essentially minimizing that process, so we can offer it as a service like we're doing today. How do we incorporate ethics into the process? Deepfakes are a double-edged sword. Absolutely, ethics is a really important cornerstone of Synthesia, and something that we've been thinking about from day one. So we have our content collaboration and control framework that you can find on our website for how we think about this. We also implemented content moderation. We actually just did a big update to that on the system today, just to make sure people are not creating content that they shouldn't be creating. Luckily, this hasn't been a problem in the 12 months we've been live. We've had to ban very few accounts, but obviously it's something that we need to be kind of on the forefront of. So that's something we think about a lot. Do you offer a translation service? So if you upload in English, can it cover to other languages without the need to go through an external translation service? Jonathan Days is asking this question. Thank you for the question, Jonathan. We don't today. It is something we have actually been thinking about. You're not the first one to suggest this. What we might offer in the future is a version where you can use an API like Google Translate directly inside the app. Of course, this still needs to be kind of checked through by someone external. So it's not something that's going to come out in the short term, but it's definitely something that I think in maybe on a 6 to 12 month timeline would be really interesting, because we have a lot of companies that create multilingual content. Renee Horman is asking, is there any idea to make the avatar not or no not, so the questions can be answered better? Yes, so in the next 6 months, we're releasing the big update to all the avatars, which is going to mean on the AI side of things, which is going to mean that we are going to get better lip sync. We're going to get head nodding, smiling, all these things we've got to be able to control a little bit more. And we're also slowly starting to work on emotions. But this is a path that we're constantly working on. As you guys know, what we're building here is really deep technology. It's pretty complex stuff, but that is definitely the something that we're working towards, so that they can answer questions better. When will subscriptions become available that allow to make avatar videos based on uploaded audio files? So I'm not sure exactly what you're meaning here, Joshin Mush. We on the platform today, you can actually upload real voice clips, so like real speech, if you want that to drive the avatar. If you're thinking about voice cloning, so where you record your own voice and then you can type in with your own voice, that's also something that we're going to be supporting, hopefully within the 6 to 9 months. We have a partnership with a company called Descript that you should check out if you want to do your own voice. It is pretty easy. It takes 15 minutes-ish. And once you're set up with Descript, you can then use that inside the studio. Is there a template system for scripts or OCR search to filter video results through the words from the script? So I'm guessing that you're thinking in the search functionality in the app here, that you could search for something that is in the script. It's not something that we have planned, actually. What we're building now is folder functionality that should be out soon, which will hopefully make it a little bit easier. So when you're done with a video, you can make a project folder and you can save the videos there. We do know that it can be a little bit hard to manage an account with lots of videos on it when all you have is a list. How are you planning to improve the video editing experience without taking away the simplicity that allows people without editing skills to produce content? This is a great question. And that's some of the things that we think about a lot, because we want Synthesia to be really, really easy to use. But we also want to enable people to create really, really awesome things. So actually, I think a good way to maybe illustrate like how we think about the design of the platform is maybe how we implemented the API. So I'm sure some of you will be familiar with the API that we have built. The way you use the API is that you just use the kind of video creator like you've always done it, but you just insert these tags down here. And this is, I think, a good way of describing like our design process. If you're not using the API and you don't want to use the API, then you don't have to do anything here, right? You can just type your script like you would normally. But if you actually want to use the API to insert the first name, the company, and the use case, you simply just put in these mustaches. And you can do the same thing with the logo, where down here you can add the API variable. And on the canvas, you can also, if we do one that says hello F name, then you can make an API template like this. So we're going to try and keep the app super simple to use, but still enable expert users to easily create this type of content that we're working with here. Joff asks, how can we play the floating version of a video at the bottom of a website, just as you would typically see a chat widget? So what I would suggest doing today is that you buy another tool for this and upload your Synthesia videos. Video Ask is a pretty good platform for this. It's also what we're actually using on our website. What you can do here is you can go in, you can make your widget, and then you can upload your Synthesia videos to that widget, and you can make it into this kind of interactive experience. And I can tell you from the results that we're getting from this, it really works. It's a great way for people to interact with your website and set up a meeting with sales, for example. Isaac is asking, can you create an equivalent of an audible silence in video so that if you want to appear silent in video for a few seconds, your head doesn't nod or bob around? Yes, Isaac, this is coming very soon. This is that update I was talking about earlier. In the next 6 months, we'll have additional functionality to the avatars. And one of them is going to be that when you add in silence to your video, the character will just sit and not kind of bob their head around. Nadia is asking, will you have a voice control feature at some point, such as to adjust pause, pace, emphasizing words, etc.? So Nadia, I don't know if you have tried this out yet, but actually you can do some of these things today. We're definitely adding more functionality, but with some of the voices, you can, for example, emphasize words. I'm just going to share my screen here so I can show you. What you can do is you can say, hello, Victor. This is a test. But now if I put one of these words in air quotes like this, it will actually emphasize this word. It's not for all voices that this is working for, but a lot of the voices this does work for. So you can try that out for yourself and see how it works. The other way that you can, and so one of the other things you asked about was pauses. So I'm not sure if you have tried this out yet. But what you can do is you can insert this tag that I'm finding here, break time, in your script. And then if you change this number here, right now this is 2 seconds, but I can also put in 10 seconds or 5 seconds or 1 second, and the character will then pause. So that's one way to operate with this. But we are also building more of these kind of functionalities into the text editor pretty soon. Also things like controlling the animation so that you can time when something appears on the screen, for example. we want that to be something you can do directly in the text box. So if you have a bunch of bullet points, for example, you can just mark in the text when you want those bullet points to appear in your video. What will be required to get these new emotions abilities you've just mentioned? Will we need to re-record ourselves? Isaac, we're hoping that this will work kind of on footage we've already recorded, but it's a little bit to be determined. We're doing a lot of testing today. The hope is that you don't need to re-record yourself. Will it be possible to add other synthetic voices? In French, for example, there's 5 voices yet, but would like to know if it will be possible to add others in the future. Yeah, so we can add other voices. If you, for example, use a voice from Google or Microsoft or something like that today that you like, we can implement that. And then, of course, you're going to eventually be able to create your own voice. This is going to be English first, but eventually you should also be able to do this in different languages. We have an integration with Descript, which also offers synthetic voices. So if you have a voice in there, then you can also use that in your Synthesia account. Will you support SSML? Jordan asked this question. That is the plan, but we're going to take it one functionality at a time. So as you know, today we support the break tag, for example. We can do emphasis in some words, and soon we'll be supporting a bit more of them. And the idea is that we eventually will get to full support, but it's going to be one step at a time. So Jordan Whitney asks, my company is making an interactive elementary school teacher avatar, prototype with Synthesia, but ideally ultimately need more control over voice, like SSML, and want to sound less corporate, more like a teacher. 2, rendering live, so don't need to pre-render everything. Highly free runs on mobile. How much of this is on your roadmap? So I think we just covered the SSML, which is slowly coming. In terms of sounding less corporate and more like a teacher, I think maybe the best thing to do here is actually to make your own voice. If you record your own voice in the style of a teacher, on Descript, for example, then this is the way that it should come out on the other end. In terms of live rendering, I think I would need to understand the use case a bit more here. We are eventually going to be processing video live, but I think what we found so far, at least, is that for most of our corporate clients who are building chatbots, for example, is that you don't actually need live necessarily. What we released very recently is our seamless transitions avatar. Essentially means that you can create video content which can be played after one another. If you're creating with this seamless flag on the API, all these videos that are in the blue boxes here, then what you can do is you can play all of them after one another, and it will just look like it's one long video with the character idling in between. So if you're building an interactive experience, for example, you could use this API from us to create kind of a seamless, almost chatbot style of experience. And this is something that we're gonna get on Rails pretty soon for all of the avatars. But if you're interested in trying out the seamless avatar, then just ping us on the chat and we'll send you the link. Making a character of myself costs $1,000. What if you think about a way if I make my character free for you to use, then the pricing will be different. Maybe for free or paid, but then if the character used. We're going to introduce technology pretty soon that's going to make it easier to create an avatar, which means we'll also will be able to hopefully lower the voice of it, lower the price of it eventually. But we're probably not going to go into a model where you can make your avatar available to like everyone else right now. Valentine asks, does Synthesia consider to compete in the future with Cameo.com or Memo.me by entering the personalized videos from celebrities market? So Valentine, you have probably already seen our messy messages campaign, and without saying too much, I can say that there's more coming. But actually, I think we more see these companies as partners than as competitors. Will you support Bitcoin or any crypto in the future? It's not something that's on the roadmap. I'm a big crypto advocate myself, but so maybe one day, but it's not something that we're going to be supporting in the near term. Someone asked me, what is my favorite feature in Studio? And I actually would love to show you guys that because I think it's a little bit hidden today. So my favorite feature in Studio is what's called match to script. I do a lot of screen recordings in the content that I do, and I'm sure some of you guys do as well. And what you can do with match to script is that I have my screen recording here. And you can of course trim it down. You can do all these, you can crop it, you can do all the things you guys probably know. But what many of you may not know is this match to script. If I play the video now,
you and your team can insert emojis by using this shortcut.
So as you can see here, my script is pretty short and the video is way too long. It just keeps playing, right? What you can do with match to script is turn it on. And then what we will do is we will take the background video, we will match it exactly to the script. So no matter what I type down here, the video will be the same length. So if we try this again.
You and your team can insert emojis by using this shortcut.
Boom, it matches up perfectly. This is something I use a lot in all the content that I create, but I feel like it's still maybe a little bit of a hidden feature. It was fantastic to get all of your questions here. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll do another one of these soon. So if any other questions that you want to ask, then you can put them to me there. But thanks for all the support, everyone. I'm so incredibly honored to have all of you as customers, and great questions as always. Really, really appreciate the support from all of you guys, and we will continue our journey to make you guys as happy as we possibly can. Thanks a lot, everyone, and we'll see you out there.